Without going extremely into the details, I wanted to also go through the menu options that Adobe XD has at the very top. I'm on a Mac machine, obviously, but if you do have Windows, this menu over here will probably be different for you. It will be under a hamburger menu, somewhere over here. So I'll put a screenshot over here that you'll be able to see where you can access the same menu from. So if you are following on a Windows, just be aware of that little change, but the menu options should still be similar, so you'll still be able to follow along the same, regardless of whether you're using XD on a Windows or a Mac. Working our way from the left to the right of our menu, first up we have File. From here we can create new files, open from your computer. If you have a file on your machine to open up, you can access recent projects. If you have multiple projects, you can quickly switch between them here. But because we only have one project opened up, it will just show you this one project. You can get UI kits from this menu here, which we'll go through in the next section of this course. We can manage our libraries, which we talked about in the previous lecture very briefly. You can go ahead and save your Adobe XD file through here if you want to save it somewhere specific. Your projects are by default saved to the Creative Cloud, which will show up under your files. From File, you can also access your document history. Now, this document history you also have access to by clicking this little arrow over here. It will go ahead and show you the different versions of your project as you've been working on it over time. So you can go ahead and click on different versions by time to see what's changed. Now, of course, because I haven't really changed much, it's the same right now between the two. But as you go through more changes in your project, you'll see more document history will add up, which is pretty useful. If let's say you made a mistake and you want to go back to a certain point in time. Under our edit options, we have undo, redo, your usual cut, copy, and paste. But we also have something called paste appearance, which is cool. We'll go ahead and essentially allow us to copy just an appearance of an object, but not the object itself. We'll go through that as we're exploring our shape tools. And then we have the usual delete, select all, deselect all, and so on. Under our object option, we have group, ungroup. So if you're working with multiple objects, we can group them together and ungroup them, and this will show up in the layers panel as well. You can lock or hide objects from your artboards or your canvas. You can add colors to your asset panel, add character styles. You can create components from here, which will allow us to create reusable objects throughout our project. And we'll explore components because it's one of the most useful things in XD. If we are working with a component and we wanted to reset it to the main state, we can do that from here. We can mark things for export. So if we're working on multiple things, we can select the ones that we want to export and make them ready for export through here. We can create masks or repeat grids from here. We'll go through both options in this course. We have some path options that we'll go through. We have text. So if you want to make a text bold, italic, you can do that from here. We can arrange things, so in our layers panel as well, we can do this, but if you do want a shortcut, you can also come over here to bring things to the front or bring things forward, backwards. We can transform stuff by flipping them horizontally, vertically here. We can align things to the left, center, right, top, middle, bottom, which we also have access to up here. We can distribute stuff horizontally and vertically, so this will evenly space things out, and we'll go through this as we're learning about distribution and alignment. Under our plugin, as I explained, plugins allow us to automate our design work and make things a lot faster for us. So we'll definitely be using some plugins in our designs. And once you do install some plugins, it will go ahead and show up over here. So you can easily access them at any point. Under our view, we have our zoom in, zoom out features. We can use our command or control and number options here to zoom at certain levels. We'll go through zooming all in a separate lecture. We can enter full screen, access our libraries, layers, or plugins, which essentially are the same as what these buttons down here do. We can create layout or square grids, which we'll explore as well. And under our Windows option, we have the usual minimize, zoom, so on and so forth. Now we can preview our project by hitting Command Enter on a Mac or Control Enter, and it will go ahead and open it up, which is essentially the same as clicking on this present icon or desktop preview icon over here. And under our help, if at any point we do want to search for a certain task, so let's say we want to access our zoom tools, we can quickly type in zoom and access the option that we want easily, and that just makes it a lot faster for us to find exactly what we're looking for. So at any point you can use this help feature throughout the course. So that's just a little brief on what the menu option has to offer. In the next lecture, I'm going to share with you some shortcuts that you can have access to that are useful. You don't have to memorize these shortcuts. In fact, I think that's probably not the best way to learn them. The best way is just to take a brief look at this document, and then over time, as we work on the project, I'll be using them and I'll be reminding you to use them as well. And so this way, through practice, we can use these shortcuts, these keyboard shortcuts, to make our design process much more efficient.